This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And it is a frigid Tuesday.
It's pretty chilly, yeah.
Here in Pittsburgh, and of course up here on Mount Olympus. It is even colder than that because the wind whips across here. As Odin, I believe, or Zeus, I should say, lets loose on the winds. Anyways.
Yeah, but Flying High Again was on when I came in, so I was in a good mood. Didn't matter. I was into the Aussie. Yeah.
There you go.
Love the DVE being on in the background coming in.
Well, it's usually something AC/DC.
It's often AC/DC, yes.
But, Matt, Lance Zierlein has come out with his
he's great.
posting of all the prospects from this year's Combine. Starting to populate some of the grading systems and things that the NFL, that they use on NFL.com to differentiate these guys. And I'm looking here at the defensive.
And real quick, folks, I mean, Lance does like every player in the draft. He has a write-up on. And you can go back and search and find his write-ups from 5 years ago still. I still do it sometimes just to get like, accurate heights and things like that don't change. Or Steelers signed this guy I don't know much about. What was his profile coming out of college, blah, blah, blah. And his dad was a Steelers O-line coach, and he was also the Browns O-line coach the year I was there. So good dude, knows his stuff.
Yep. And he does this all for NFL.com. I'm looking here at some of the positions.
I can't help myself. Lance's a funny dude, and I'm friends with him on Facebook. And, like, when his kids were young, they were, like, this big. He would dress them up like Walter White, or he had like crazy adult costumes for his 4-year-old kids. It was hilarious. So I just couldn't help myself.
So if you want, Google Lance Zierlein rankings, NFL.com. Right?
I just retweeted it. Yeah.
And they have the grading system here on NFL.com. And basically, if you're 6.0 or above, you're a future starter, or at least going to be at least be an average starter in the NFL. Looking at the defensive tackles in this draft.
Yeah, that's the only section I clicked on, other than the top 100 or whatever.
Right now, as we sit here at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, February 18th.
And these aren't final evaluations by Lance, but he's trying to get every combine guy up there with something at least.
Yeah,
with
and he hasn't gotten everybody done yet.
Right.
But right as we sit here right now, he's got 19 defensive tackles.
With like starter type grade.
With the 6.0 or better at this point.
I'm not going to try to tell you guys about the grading system. It's a little complex, but there is a guide there for you. And it's not a 1 out of 10 system. So, like, 6 isn't like, he's slightly above average. 6 is good.
6 is good.
Yeah.
Walter Nolan, his top-ranked tackle, and honestly, it's not close.
I saw he was in the top 10 overall, give or take. I don't think that's good news for Steelers. I was thinking about this today. We did a video with Mike Pursuta talking about our mocks, and I'm like, I don't think Nolan's getting to 21. I just don't. He's too good a prospect.
You didn't get to 21 on mine.
No, I know. He got exactly to 21 on mine, but maybe I fudged things a little.
Wishful thinking.
Right.
But he drew a 6.71 grade.
That's a big grade.
Which is a big grade. If you look back at some previous drafts, that's pretty lofty stuff.
Yeah. That's year one starter, potential Pro Bowler type guy,
Yeah. Is Mason Graham second at 6.49? And
Nolan's a better athlete.
The guys that he puts at 6.49 grade on are boomer bust prospects.
Okay. There is, again, I don't even remember the system, but we used it with the Browns. That was 20 years ago. A lot of the league uses this type of system. A 6.49 means something more than different than a 6.48. Not that you're 0.1 better. It's like, he's a little boom and bust, and So the grades are a little confusing, folks. Yeah, but there's more to it. It's like a new language.
Then it's Derek Harmon out of Oregon, third.
Okay.
Kenneth Grant, fourth.
I'm not concerned, but I think when it's all said and done, if you're going to take a D tackle at 21, it might be one of those two.
Yeah. And then Tyleek Williams he's graded right behind Grant. Grant's a 6.36. Tyleek is a 6.35 out of Ohio State.
Okay. I mean, he is an anvil in the run game. He's not much of a pass rusher, but he is really hard to move. And I think we've mentioned this on the air, but the Steelers were right at the top of the league in terms of percentage of runs that went between the tackles as opposed to outside. So that's how teams have attacked the Steelers on purpose.
Yeah.
So if you
a lot of that, however, being against the nickel too.
Oh, no doubt. But that's true for all. I mean, all
Yeah.
defenses are in nickel and dime too.
Right.
But I mean, that definitely was the case. Get Benton off the field, get Roberts off the field, run up the middle. Some teams did it real well. But even start to finish, that's how teams attacked the Steelers. So an interior presence would go a long way to changing that at least.
After those guys, that group, he has Alfred Collins and Shamar Turner.
I'm really
both
warming up to
6'3"
Collins.
Collins is a good player.
Yeah, there's a lot of traits
but
there.
I think it's very similar to Tyleek Williams. You're going to get a 2-down, maybe
Most
even
likely.
a 1-down
Yeah.
player here.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have those guys, but where do you draft them? That's the question.
That's the thing. I mean, could Grant be more than that? I mean,
I think
he's
that's the
bigger.
upside
That's
potential,
the thing.
yeah.
Could he be Vea, or Nada? I mean, and those are big names, but that mold where I don't think Williams can. I'm not sure if Collins can. And that doesn't mean they can't be on the field on 2nd and 7.
Right.
They will be some,
Depending on the package that the other team has out
or
there.
how healthy you are that day, or who else you got.
You're
But
playing
right.
you're playing the Ravens, you're playing the Chargers. They're probably on the field.
Right,
You're playing
right.
You're playing the Bengals, probably not.
But if it's to your point, if this guy's getting 15 snaps a game, what's the value? What are you willing to give up for that?
Yeah, is that a first round pick? Probably not. Is
Right,
it a 2? Maybe.
Maybe if it's a big need.
Yeah.
Right. Where Nolan is a different story.
After those guys, after Collins and Turner, he has Cam Jackson out of Florida,
Another big body,
another nose
interior
type
guy. Yeah.
And then Ty Robinson out of Nebraska, a guy that I like a lot.
Yeah.
He just for whatever.
I'd be shocked if he busts.
Just a try hard guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just goes hard all the time.
All the time.
He's just wrecks stuff.
He's just a pain in the butt to play against. And I doubt he'll be a 60 snap guy either. But the 22 snaps he's out there aren't fun.
No.
Right. And he's always fresh. And Cam's on the sideline and relaxing for a minute. Not being beat up as much.
He's got the Chris Hoke motor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, nobody ever wanted to practice against Chris Hoke because Chris Hoke went 125 miles an hour all the time.
Every snap.
Every snap he was out there.
Yeah.
And
you can stick around a long time doing that. Right.
That's Braden Fisk. It's the same. It's the same thing. Like they just go. You just wind them up and they run and wreck stuff.
Yep.
T.J. Sanders. After those guys,
it's a little low on him.
Yeah.
But I kind of get it.
I mean, that actually, when you say low on him,
maybe it's just the other ones are hot.
The other ones maybe just too, or just looking at these grades, it kind of shows you where all the defensive tackles are at here. That might be the same as saying he's a 2nd or 3rd rounder, which is kind of where he's ranked at.
As I say, it might just show the strength of this class.
There's so many dudes.
Right.
Then you're looking at Ty Hamilton, the other defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Deone Walker got a 6'2" out of Kentucky.
That shocked me he was that high.
Yeah. Jamari Caldwell out of Oregon, 6'19".
He's growing on me, too. I mean, he's a little fleshy in the middle and kind of a round body type, but he is a quick mover, man.
Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, a 6'18", out of Georgia.
Okay.
The other Georgia defensive tackle, Warren Brinson, 6'18". So both the Georgia guys, and they're Georgia, they were highly recruited. And
I mean, even like the 1st and 2nd round Bama D linemen over the years get drafted. Georgia's the same way,
Josh Farmer at 6'14". Darius Alexander at 6'13".
A little lower on those two than I would have guessed.
Riley Mills from Notre Dame at 6'12".
He's interesting too.
He has the perfect body type as a Steelers defensive lineman.
Yep. No, he could end up in black and gold.
Vernon Broughton, defensive tackle out of Texas, is 6'10".
Texas is another one that gets D tackles.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it. And he is the last guy at this point who has a grade of 6 or higher.
Okay.
He also has Omar Norman Lott out of Tennessee is a 5'9" Jordan Phillips out of Maryland is a 5'8".
Not a lot of pass rush with Phillips, but I like what he would bring to the Steelers immediately.
And those guys, if you're under 6, that and especially the high 5s, your career backup or so
spot player.
There's
Right.
Value there.
Oh yeah, it doesn't mean he's like
doesn't
7th round pick.
Doesn't mean your story's written. You could outplay that as
Sure.
well. And some of the guys who he has rated highly are not going to live up to that potential. But
Norman Lott in particular, I mean, he's been a spot player. What if he can do that for 50 or 60 snaps at the next level? The same production he does in Tennessee.
Looking at some of the wide receivers in this draft, and it's not going to be quite as kind with that group. Luther Burden is his top-rated wide receiver.
I was a little shocked to see that.
6'4",
Yeah.
Then Matthew Golden and Tedero McMillan.
Okay.
Both 6'4".
McMillan seems like he's a little polarizing, but the more I watch him, the more I'm impressed.
And you're looking at Egbuka at 6'3", 7". Trey Harris fills out his top 5 at 6'3".
He's growing on me too. Their production at Mississippi was a lot different with and without him.
Yeah.
Dart was a lot better with him.
Then you have Isaiah Bond and Jack Betch, both at 6'3".
It's early for me on Bond, but I'm a Betch fan.
Jalen Royals at 6'2", 7". Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State at 6'2", 4".
I like both the Iowa State dudes.
Jalen Noel
Okay.
out of Iowa State at 6'2", 4", so they both have the same grade. Dominic Lovett out of Georgia, 6'2", 3".
I got to do more homework on him too then.
Tez Johnson out of Oregon at 6'2", 3". Kyle Williams out of Washington State at 6'2",
Yeah, he's kind of a unique player.
Alec Ayemanor, 6'19", out of Stanford.
Lower than I would have guessed on him.
Yeah, same with Savion Williams, the wide receiver out of TCU, 6'19". He's kind of a gadgety guy.
He's a gadgety after the catch. Has some Cordell Patterson to him a little bit too. Big, strong, physical, but can run routes and
Then you're looking at Elijah Badger out of Florida at 6'18", and Xavier Restrepo.
Boy, that's low for him.
6'18". Those are the only guys right now who have a grade over 6.
I wonder if he thinks Restrepo's only a slot.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's been productive and he's not tiny.
I do like Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
Better, but he's a route runner.
He's a route runner, yeah.
If you want to look at the running backs,
I bet there's a million. I know Genty's his top-ranked player overall.
Ashton Genty is the number 1 guy at 7'15".
Anything over 7's rare.
I don't think there was a guy in last year's draft who was over 7.
Really? Doesn't surprise
Usually
me.
the top guy in his rankings is
6'9",
6'9", 6'8", high 6'8", somewhere in that. 7'15" is.
I think he's been doing
legit.
it long enough to do Saquon. I'm almost certain.
Yeah.
Definitely long enough to do Bijan. I wonder what their grades were. Probably in that neighborhood.
Probably in that neighborhood. Yeah. That's why when people ask, if Ashton Genty's there at 21, do you take him?
Yeah, I think so. Right. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah.
Right. And there's about 3 or 4 spots. I'm not sure that he could. Well, he'll get past a couple of them, but there's a couple landmines for him.
Yeah.
Denver, Chicago, Dallas.
Put it this way.
Raiders.
So Lance also does comps for these guys on His comp on Ashton Genty is LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, I understand that. A little smaller.
Would you take LaDainian Tomlinson?
Right. In the first round.
Yes, I would.
Of course. He was the second pick in his draft, and he lived up to it. He was the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I would. I would take LaDainian Tomlinson at pick 21.
Even if running backs don't matter and you're not supposed to use running back. Yeah, if he's LaDainian Tomlinson, yes.
His second-rated bank is Travion Henderson, 6'3", 8".
I know. And every time I listen to McShay or DJ, they bring his name up as a potential first-rounder. And explosives are harder to come by than they've been on offense. Philly's getting them with the ground game. Now, not everyone in the world is going to mimic Philly like the world thinks all of a sudden. But if you can get a back that can take it to the house and you can get explosives from handing the ball off, it's a nice way to go.
Dylan Sampson is his 3.
He has some explosive traits, too.
Yeah. Omarion Hampton is his 4.
He's clearly my 2.
Quinshon Junkins is his 5.
Wow.
Then you're looking at Bashal Tootin out of Virginia Tech.
I'm a fan if he can hold on the football. I think he's a real steal.
He's smaller than I thought.
He is small.
Caleb Johnson out
That's
of Iowa.
what I was going to say. Where's Johnson?
6'2", 3. Damian Martinez out of Miami is 6'1", 8. Cam Scatabo out of Arizona State is 6'1", 6.
Those last 3 you mentioned all have Steelers stuff to them.
Yeah. Jordan James out of Oregon is 6'1", 6.
I warmed up to him a lot, too.
Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State is 6'1", 5. Trevor Etienne out of Georgia, 6'1", 5. Woody Marks out of USC, a 6'1", 5. Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn, a 6'1", 2. And Jaden Blue out of Texas, a 6'1", 1.
So I bet you named 18 names there with a 6'1" or better.
And he still hasn't gotten the guys like LaQuint Allen.
Yeah.
He still hasn't gotten the guys like Taj Brooks.
I don't think I heard Neal.
DJ Giddens.
Harvey.
Neal's not on there yet. Kyle McGonaghy. I mean, he's got some other guys on there. They're going to jump onto Rashard Smith.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be on that list high.
I mean, I think we've mentioned that Mel Kiper has 35 running backs with a draftable grade. Now 6.0 is well over a draftable
Yes.
grade. If he's got 18 with a top 3 or 4 round grade, think what you're going to get in the 5th and 6th round.
Right.
I mean, not every team's going to draft one in the top 3 rounds.
Absolutely.
Of course not. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Right. And how many teams really have running back needs?
What other position we want? Let's look at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Ward, a 6.39.
It's not a stellar grade.
Not a stellar grade for a
number one
for a
quarterback.
guy that might go number 1 overall.
Now, he puts no position value
Right.
on it. That's why Genty's way ahead of Ward.
Yeah.
Genty's better at what he does than what Ward is.
Shador Sanders is a 6.30.
And you say he was a 6.39 Ward?
Yeah.
Okay, they're closer than I might have thought.
He has Jackson Dart and Quinn Ewers both at 6.19. He has Dylan Gabriel at 6.10 and Jalen Milroe with a 6.
Huh?
But he hasn't gotten to some of the other guys, the Will Howards, the Riley Leonards, the Kyle McCords,
That's
the
what he's
Curtis
working on
Rhodes,
as we speak,
Tyler
probably.
Shuck. Yeah, so he's about halfway done with
Okay.
all
Quarterbacks
this.
take more time, too. You need to watch extra tape.
This
on
is
them.
a huge undertaking.
Oh, could you imagine writing up 400 players? And the other insane thing he does is if people that are drafted that he didn't write up, he goes back and does them after the draft,
Looking at the cornerback position, he has Travis Hunter at a 6.89.
Okay.
That's usually where about the best player in the draft is.
Yeah. And Hunter's in that conversation. He might go 1 overall. Heisman winner,
He is a higher grade on Genty.
Yeah.
Will Johnson's a 6.70 out of Michigan. Azirie Thomas, a 6.38.
I get it. I noticed today that you had him in your first round mock, and I think that's very possible.
He's got size. He plays man.
Yeah, he can play man, right?
Yeah. Jahdae Barron, a 6.35.
Okay. Our boy Mike Pursuta had him going real high in his mock.
Maxwell Hairston, a 6.29 out of Kentucky.
I think we drafted him yesterday.
Siobhan Ravel is a 6.24 out of East Carolina, as is Trey Amos.
I wonder how Lance does it with like a Ravel or a Benjamin that has a looming injury situation. Like, does he bump him up when he gets a good bill of health, or is that just the grade of what he saw on tape?
That would be something if we were able to get him on.
I'm going to try to track him down.
Yeah. You could ask him. I'd love to dig more into his
the process
grading system
too,
here.
and how many players per day does he get done? And,
Darian Porter out of Iowa State, a 6.21. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame, a 6.20, as is Jacob Parrish out of K-State.
What's Parrish's height and weights on there?
He's like 6'1".
I thought he's
190-ish.
He fits.
Yeah, he's got some length to him.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's 5'9", 196. Must be the other K-State corner.
Yeah, okay. That just has me screwed up.
5'9", 196.
He's the slot then. Okay.
Yeah. I gotta wait for this to reload here. Where are we at? Benjamin Morrison, Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech, 6'17". Tommy Hill out of Nebraska, 6'15". Bilal Kone out of Western Michigan, 6'14", as is Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. Caleb Ransaw and Kobe Bryant, Tulane and Kansas, respectively, 6'13". And then Quincy Riley out of Louisville, a 6'10".
Okay, had a good Senior Bowl, and seems to be coming on pretty strong.
Again, if you're getting a 6'0" or better,
you're
being viewed as a potential starter down the road.
I mean, these few position groups that you picked that are going to be highly on the Steelers' radar, pretty good place to shop.
Not bad.
Wide receiver is not where it usually is, but it's never going to be bad.
Yeah, it's never going to be awful.
Right.
Again, this is still. We'll talk a lot about this and all this kind of stuff. In terms of the rankings and those kind of things when we get to the combine, we'll have live results, top performers, all that fun stuff.
The guy you thought was 6'3", 6'1.5",
It's just a fun day because
it's a blast.
There's names on here that I haven't gotten to yet in my process of looking up different guys, and I'll just
doing some homework on.
I'll pick out 3 or 4 guys a night and just go watch tape. Go watch tape. There's a new guy. I got to go watch tape.
Didn't know anything about that guy. Yeah. Does he fit the bill? Right.
Because I don't get to do that during college football season.
No, I don't
happening.
either. Right.
We're a little busy with other stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. So go check out Lance Zierlein's rankings on NFL.com.
It's not super easy to find on NFL.com.
You're better off just Googling it.
Yeah, or just follow one of us. I retweeted. I think you did too. Or go find Lance. Right.
A verb.
To Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a verb.
To Google or not to Google? That is the question. Anyways, he's Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, looking here at that, Rob Rang has his rankings out on the running back class on Fox Sports
I say, where's Rob work nowadays?
He's with Fox. He also has Ashton Genty, number one.
The no-brainer. So it just depends where he goes, but we all know who the first back off the board is going to be.
Said he is a top 10 talent.
Easy.
Yeah. Don't know that he's going to go top 10, though. That's the thing.
So that bugs me a little. I'm not giving Rob a hard time. Rob does good work, and he has for a long time. But, like, when Bijan came out, people were like, oh, yeah, he's a top 10 talent. No, he's like Lance. He's the best talent in the draft. It doesn't matter where he goes. You know, I mean, he's the best player in the draft. It's when are you going to take him?
He has Omarion Hampton, number 2.
He'll be my 2, too.
Yeah.
I might do my running backs tonight. I think he's going to be my 2. He has home run speed, too, you know.
Has him as a top 50 player. His comp on him is Jonathan Taylor.
I think he's a better receiver than Taylor. I don't know if he's a better runner than Taylor. But that's not bad. I mean, he's big, strong, fast.
Yeah. He has graded his third guy, Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, again a top 50 guy. His comp is Najee Harris.
I don't agree with that. For one reason, just kind of nerd out, I was about to say Caleb Johnson is a noticeably better outside zone Arthur Smith type runner.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned a Steeler back that I don't think is necessarily a good Arthur Smith outside zone runner. You know, I don't think there's.
I think he's looking just at the size,
strength.
Yeah.
You know, tough guy to put on the ground. Absolutely right. But I think in terms of play style, no.
Yeah.
What do we know of him as a receiver? I haven't studied.
Not much.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, not much. He had 188 receiving yards.
Yeah, I don't know how capable he is.
They didn't throw the ball, period.
I know. Yeah, that's kind of why I asked. The Ohio State guys would be my next.
He is Quidshaw Junkins 4.
Okay, I'm leaning towards Henderson at 4, but
his comp on Judkins is Joe Mixon. He has him as a second-round guy in Joe Mixon.
Okay, Mixon was a pretty accomplished receiver.
Yeah,
especially coming out of school.
Judkins caught the ball.
Yeah, he's not terrible, right? I mean, not necessarily his role at Ohio State.
He has Travion Henderson 5.
Does he?
Yeah. Although his comp on Travion Henderson is Josh Jacobs, and I don't see that.
No, I don't see it at all.
I
think they're very different. I mean, Henderson's fat. Not that Jacobs is slow, but Henderson's more of a big play. Pollard's not the right one, but there's more every downish than Pollard. But I'm terrible at comps.
Yeah, I don't do them well either. But I know when I see one, it doesn't
when I
make
like
sense.
one, I like it, or when I hate one, I notice it. But yeah, I don't want to be the one.
If I watch tape on somebody, it kind of reminds me of this guy, and yeah.
I would never want to be in charge of. Give me your comps on these guys.
He has Dylan Sampson of Tennessee 6.
That seems to be not far off.
Yeah,
I don't think he's for the Steelers though.
No, 5'10", 201. His comp for him is James Cook, and I do see that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
I mean, Cook's turned into a really good player over the last year, but that was kind of what he looked like coming out of Georgia.
He has Bashal Tutin, number 7, out of Virginia Tech.
He's hard to tackle.
His comp is Kenneth Walker.
That's not bad. I mean, Walker was better.
I would like Tutin more if he didn't put the ball on the ground.
Yeah, it's a big concern. Yeah, I mean, I would have to really, like, if he was in my area and I was an area scout, I would study every fumble to no end. Why? Yeah. You know, is it just did he bad luck? Is he terrible at it? Or I mean, do we have to correct this or what?
Yeah. He has Cam Scatabo 8. And again, the comp is Najee Harris.
I kind of get that. I mean, he hates being tackled. I forget who I was talking to.
That's a good way to put it.
He hates it. I would have Scatabo higher than that, and I know he's a fan favorite, but I do know some people in the league are concerned about his long-term durability.
Yeah.
I mean, he's taken a beating and runs into things really hard.
But you also know he catches the ball well.
Oh, very much so. Way better receiver than people give him credit for, too.
His favorites are the rest of the guys. He likes Kyle McGonaghy out of Rutgers.
I haven't done a lot on him yet.
Jordan James out of Oregon.
Yeah, I like James.
Yeah. Devin Neal out of Kansas. Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech. And Woody Marks out of USC.
Okay. I just know the Marks' name. I don't know a ton about him either.
Yeah.
There's definitely some other names that he hasn't brought up. I mean, the Miami dude, Martinez, would be in my top 10. Especially just for a Steeler lens.
Yeah, it's a good.
It's hard to narrow them down.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to do 5 for our triple take. That's not hard because I think there's 5 that are kind of at the top, his same 5 in whatever order. But narrowing it to 10 would be tough.
And here's So again, people have asked a lot, would you take Ashton Genty if he's there? Yes. We've also been asked, would you trade up for Ashton Genty?
That answer's no for me.
That's a no. I'm not giving up.
I might move up 2 spots and give up a 4th or 5th or something, but I'm not giving up 2 real picks for him.
No. But I don't know that after that I'm real interested in taking one of these guys in the first round if I don't get one.
I think, I get our mocks mixed up, but yesterday we did obscene trade downs.
Yeah, we traded out of the first round.
And we had all these other picks that I knew we were going to get D tackles and receivers and stuff like that. And then we took Hampton early second.
Yeah.
Okay. And that I had no problems with. I knew the other needs would be met.
Which is something that I know in reality there's a difference between being the 26th pick in the draft and being the 34th.
But the reality is
the reality is there's no difference.
No.
In terms of the real grades, life grades.
I mean, if this was an NFL war room and you're looking at the horizontal board and the vertical board, they're probably right in the same area. And 10 teams might have that guy higher vertically,
That was a great spot for YouTube, by the way.
What, doing this?
Yeah. If you're looking at the board.
Looking over there, yeah.
Radio, that doesn't translate
right.
But YouTube. So go watch the YouTube channel and you'll get to see what Matt was doing.
We should have a draft board right over there and not show anybody, yeah.
Absolutely.
Do the horizontal, but get the magnets out.
But, you don't just take the position just to take the position.
Mm-mm. Especially if you know that they're so deep.
Yeah.
You're going to find one you like.
And let me ask you this. Do you think that the NFL, given what happened this season with running backs blowing up this year, starts to value them differently in the draft?
I don't know. I mean, it's so easy to point to Henry and Barkley, and no one puts.
But they were good before
they
got to their current situations.
Nobody puts Josh Jacobs in that category either. But he changed teams and was really, really good too.
Yeah.
But they were all really, really good before that.
Right.
Henry did a lot of good stuff on a dreadful Titans team 2 years ago. Barkley was phenomenal on a horrible Giants team his whole career. And then you put them in great situations and they do better. I'm not sure what we learned there. You know what I mean? To be honest, this isn't what you asked, but like Najee hitting free agency, I don't think he's going to be thrilled with his contract because of all the names you mentioned of these guys. Right?
Yeah, the guys that are available.
Right. I mean, if you're going to get a Hall of Fame Barkley Henry dude and you put him on an already good team, maybe the Bills or teams that are contenders, the Chiefs may look at it like, we never spent on back, but maybe we will this year. And the way I describe it is the cherry on top. The sundae's already built. That's not going to be my first piece of the sundae. I
could see it for Najee in particular in a place like the Raiders, who are looking to change the culture.
Yeah.
I do think that he brings.
He'll have suitors.
He brings a toughness and a mentality to your room, to your team.
I bet Harbaugh likes him with the Chargers. There's going to be teams that want to bring the mentality, and I'm sure Pete Carroll would like him, no doubt. But those teams need a lot of other stuff too.
Right. And that might be why they
get $12 million.
That might be why they dip into the free agent market as opposed to, we're going to try to draft a young running back here and
get the bird in the hand now. And the Raiders make a lot of sense.
Do you think we've talked about this?
Maybe
before.
The Bears think he's David Montgomery and they draft Gibbs.
Yeah,
right. Right.
Yeah. We've talked about this before. The Steelers seem to have a certain style or certain size of back that they like. And it seems like there's some of these guys, if they had their choice.
Right. And they do.
Right. Willie Parker was an undrafted guy. They didn't draft him.
He fell from the sky.
Right.
He was free.
Yeah.
You're right.
So you take that. I think people misunderstand or don't understand, I should say. Jaylen Warren in today's NFL is a bigger back.
He's a bigger back, and he also fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they
He's
were shied away from
5'9" and 220 pounds.
Right. I mean, you're over 215. I think you're a
big back.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably in the top half of starting weights. And not to mention, like, BMI. Like, his body, I mean, he's a thick.
He's put together.
Yeah.
His legs are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tackle breaking and physicality is high on their list. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That's why I think, like, Martinez and Scatabo will be desirable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Genty he's kind of fits into that mold.
He has everything.
He's 5'9", 215.
Yeah,
he's not a small back.
Not at all. I mean, he's LaDainian Tomlinson-like. You know what I mean, you're right. I mean, he can jump cut. He can catch. He has tons of yards after the catch. He can break the home run. The only slight negative I've heard on him is pass protection. Well, so what? I mean, if he's on the field, I want him to get in the ball or running routes.
Yeah.
And just because he's got shorter arms, and sometimes, at 200, TJ Watt might run through him, of course.
He's going to run through a lot of guys.
Right. The long edge guys.
Yeah. Hampton is 220 pounds.
He's a bigger back.
He's a bigger
back. He looks
back.
big, too.
Yeah.
Is he 5'11"-ish?
6 foot.
Okay. I thought he would be under that when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Caleb Johnson, 225 pounds. He's a big back.
Mm-hmm.
Quinshawn Junkins at 5'11", 219 is a big back.
Mm-hmm.
By today's.
And these guys got thighs and thickness and big butts and,
Looking at some of the other guys
on
his list here. I mean, Scatabo is a big back. He's a big back, 5'10", 225. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a big back.
And I mentioned BMI, body mass index. That's big with running backs too. Like Maurice Jones-Drew was kind of a big back, even though he's this short.
Yeah.
I mean, he was round. It's not fun tackling him.
Devin Neal at 5'11", 220, big back.
I don't know if he plays it as big as some of these other guys.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
But some of that's the system that he played in as well.
Yeah.
And Taj Brooks,
I don't dislike him, but he's not a banger.
Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, 5'9", 229. That's a big back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Martinez is big.
Martinez, a big back.
I think he's over 230.
Yeah.
I mean, the combine, maybe he'll come in at 225 because he's going to run.
And that might be great.
But,
maybe teams look at it and go, that's the weight we want you. That's what happened with
Bell.
Yeah, with Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell played at over 240
in Michigan State.
At Michigan State. People say, well, he didn't look like that at Michigan State. Yeah, because they wanted him playing at 240-plus pounds.
Mm-hmm. So he was sluggish in the Big Ten. Yeah. And, right.
He played his rookie year about 230.
Okay.
And he kept losing weight as he went on.
And got better and better.
He got better and better and better. He got quicker and all that stuff.
The vision was there at 240, but he wasn't
the
same dude. Right. Yeah.
So there's some of that goes on as well with these guys when you draft them. And that's some of the stuff that goes on at the combine. Teams might be like, when they sit down and talk to a guy, what would you feel about playing, instead of playing at 235, how about playing at 225? Do you think you could think you could do that? Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. And they never say no, but they also play tricks with their weight at the combine too. But then you call the strength and conditioning coach at Iowa and like, well, what did he play at? Or you have a buddy that was the running back coach or whatever too. You can find these things out.
Yeah. Just because a guy is listed at one thing. I remember, all the having arguments with John Steigerwald on social media back in the day, because he was tweeting that, Le'Veon Bell lost all this weight from his rookie year to now. He's now playing at 225. I'm like, John, he played at 230 as a rookie. I know this for a fact.
He lost a lot of weight from Michigan State.
Yeah.
To year two,
right?
In the Steelers, but not necessarily year.
It wasn't all in one fell swoop. He looks like a completely different back now. I'm like, no, he looked like that last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's just continued to lose because he feels even quicker. He didn't play at 240 as a rookie. He just didn't.
Yeah. And frankly, it would worry me if you were a back and you lost 20 pounds in 1 year. Like, that just changes your whole way of playing the game and your ability to handle contact.
It's almost like the Lamar stuff.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, I think he said, what did he lose, like 10, 15 pounds?
Which for him, as a wiry guy, is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Right.
And
he actually added it, and then he lost it again this past year because he thought he was slow last year.
Yeah.
He
wanted to have the
extra. He was going to be a body. Yeah. He was going to be in 2020, he won the MVP. In 2023, he was heavier because he was, Monken comes in. They're not going to run as much and do more pocket stuff. And he became a much better passer. But by his standards, which are off the charts compared to everybody else, he couldn't get to the C gap as quick as he used to, or start and stop. So he's like, I'm done with that experiment.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, wanted to get to this one here. Bill Barnwell put together a list of 17 wide receivers available in free agency.
Yeah, I've been giving that a lot of thought. I did a side podcast on it yesterday, and there's some names I brushed off that I might be a little more interested in. And there's some names that aren't even on there. I don't think Slayton's on that list. Right. And I mean, he just pulled out 17 to kind of talk about.
Trade candidates, he lists Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. There's a lot involved in that.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. It's probably not the route I would take, but I understand it.
Yeah. Deebo Samuel.
I think he's going to get cut eventually, though. But then you're competing with 30 other teams.
Where does he want to go?
Right.
Devontae Adams is a cut candidate.
Yes. I'm very high on that. I get the impression he wants to go with Rodgers or the West Coast, though.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Christian Kirk.
To me, that's the most logical, not pie in the sky conversation. He doesn't have Godwin, or he doesn't have Higgins on here either. But
yeah,
I don't think Higgins is going to be a Steeler.
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
So on the message board today, and the last couple of times we've mentioned Christian Kirk, people have balked this. Well, they've already gone this old guy route.
He's not that old.
He's 28.
Yeah, he's in his prime. He's younger than Debo and Kupp and these dudes.
Yeah,
right.
He is not an old receiver, and
he's coming off a broken bone. I'm not worried about the injury or any of that stuff. I don't think he'd cost you a ton. He makes you better.
Right. Makes you a better team. It's better than what you have. He's better than Cooper Kupp.
He is better than Cooper Kupp right now. And I'd consider Kupp at the right price, but it'd be a cheap price.
It would be a cheap price because he hasn't shown he can stay healthy. He's been when he's played, he's been fine.
Yes, but it's like 12 games a year.
But he's also 32. He's not going to get better in terms of the injury stuff.
No.
He also has Tyler Lockett on this list. He'll also be 32.
If it were Wilson, not Fields, and he wants to play for very, very little, I'd think about it. But he's small, and they already have small guys.
He's a slot.
And he's
slot only.
And his best days are clearly behind him.
Yeah.
He had a really good career, though.
2025 free agents.
This is the old man club.
This is 33-year-old Keenan Allen. I'm not interested.
I said the same thing, but I was thinking about it on the way here, surprisingly. I didn't know we were going to have this conversation. I'm like, would you consider $6 million for 1 year, move the chains, get open, big slot, professional, a lot of the Kupp stuff we talked about. He might be better than Kupp still. I don't know what he costs.
He probably is.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
What's his value?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder, because he's never been on the open market, really.
Right.
I mean, the Chargers had to dump his contract, so they gave him away, basically. I don't think he's going to have a real robust market.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're a week into free agency and he says, I'll play 1 year, $6 million, I'd think about it.
Marquise Brown.
Too little.
Yeah.
And he's gonna make money.
He's also he's the same age as Christian Kirk. They're both 20. You're going to be 28 entering the 2025
I think
season.
they're the same draft class, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather have Kirk.
Nobody thinks of Marquise Brown as an old guy, though.
No. I don't think he's bad either, but
No.
I just don't think that he's for the Steelers.
Brandon Cooks. He'll be 31 entering
He's
the
another
2025
one.
season.
I kind of thought the same thing. Like, I don't want to settle at receiver. You kind of felt like they did last year.
Yeah.
But if it were Cooks at $4 million a year and a second-round pick, I understand it. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. It's going to be that and.
Oh, that's not the answer.
Yeah.
That's just better than Van Jefferson, you know.
Amari Cooper, who will be 31 entering the 2025
I bet
season.
he's going to ask for money. But we've talked about him. At least he's a route runner. He's an X. Can beat man coverage. I'm interested. I mean, at least we call his agent.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Stephon Diggs also will be 31 entering the 2025 season, but he's also coming off an ACL.
I know. And he's been a problem child when he doesn't get the ball.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't quite get that one.
I don't know if I'm interested in that one. Chris Godwin, he'll be 29 entering the
But he's going to be
season.
$23 million or $24 million.
Right.
But he wouldn't cost you a pick. He's a true UFA addition. I would certainly call.
Best of the rest, these are one trade candidate, 4 free agents. He has Adam Thielen.
That's the trade candidate.
That's a trade candidate, yes.
He's like 34, 35.
I wouldn't. At this point, I'm looking to do better than that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real fallback plan. I can't imagine. He's not terrible,
No.
but I got to do better than that.
Mike Williams.
I wouldn't hate him being at Latrobe.
Yeah.
And frankly, part of it is, to be frank, I mean, if you're considering trading Pickens, having him on the roster with other stuff, by no means is he the answer, might make that a little easier.
I'm also of the thought that guys coming off of an ACL, sometimes it takes a year to regain what you were.
I don't think you saw the best version,
No.
but he does have a long injury history.
Yeah.
But at this point, is he $3 million a year? $4? I mean, like he can't.
He's not getting
much.
the 10 that he got last year.
I mean, his value's gone down dramatically.
DeAndre Hopkins. No,
I don't think.
I don't see it.
No, I know he played through an injury all year, and I give him credit for that, but
it's not going to get better.
Probably not. I mean, he was never a separator to begin with.
Yeah. And then,
I mean, none of these old guys are the answer.
No.
But if it's the last old guy standing and they're going to take a nice pay cut than what they've been used to, I might consider it with a draft pick.
Demarcus Robinson.
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he got charged with the DUI in January, so you're probably looking at some kind of suspension to start
I wasn't
the
even
year.
going to go there because him coming out of Florida had all kinds
Issues.
of character red flags. Right.
And then Juju Smith-Schuster.
Nope.
Slot
only beats zone. He's been with 100 teams since he's with the Steelers. No.
Yeah. That's why, folks, when we talk
about
Slayton,
yes.
But I think there's, when we had Jeremy Fowler on during the Senior Bowl, he says, look, there's going to be a better market for Slayton.
You mentioned Marquise Brown, too, the deep guys.
The speed guys.
You think he makes 12?
Might get north of that.
So if it gets much north, I'm not.
He's been a productive receiver
on a bad team
with some bad quarterback situations.
And they've tried to always go past him, and they can't get away from him. We've talked about him for like a year. It seems like,
a couple of years.
Actually. Yeah, right.
Could you get him in a trade?
I thought so, but I don't know. And he wouldn't be. I wouldn't be done. With Slayton either.
But that's why when we talk about maybe making a trade for a Christian Kirk as opposed to just waiting for them to cut him, you're being proactive there.
Yeah.
And you're getting a player who's still 28 entering the season.
And I think he's like worth the equivalent of like a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd give up a 5 for him just to get him because I do think they'll cut him. I do think
eventually, but then you got to bid for him.
Then you got to fight,
Then you got to fight and
does he want to come here?
Teams, right? That's the other.
Well, he may choose another team at the same contract.
I want to stay in Florida. Or I want to go somewhere where there's no taxes or whatever it may be. Whatever the reasoning, he's got a choice.
But what's funny is every name you just mentioned in this segment, I think he's the one that's the most logical in terms of makes you better. It's not asking too much. It's not T. Higgins. It's not Godwin. It's not, we'll just sign the best guy out there.
Yeah.
And then I'm still open for business on draft day. Not round 1, probably.
Yeah.
Unless there was a crazy trade down or something. But they could have sure used Christian Kirk last year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that, and that's why you go after a guy like that. Devontae Adams would be great.
Sure.
But.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of teams think the same thing.
Right. You're
doesn't mean you can't at least call him still. I mean, you have cap space.
You make the call, yeah.
I mean, but it'd be nice to have Kirk, that bird in the hand today.
Right.
I mean, okay, now I can sleep a lot better about
now you know you know where you're at moving forward.
Yeah, and if I don't do a thing between now and the draft, okay, I still have capabilities to get better in the draft.
How do you weigh Kirk versus Deebo Samuel?
I wonder if Deebo's ready to break down. He's really good after the catch. Still, he was not very productive this year. And Ayuk was out of the picture. But he's intriguing as could be. I mean, he's physical, loved by his teammates, get the ball in his hands. He's no fun to play against. Would you be done if you added Deebo right now? Like, he got cut, you signed him. They don't even give up a pick. I don't think I'd be done.
I would still it would take drafting one early off the table.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not in
the
Buka neighborhood anymore, probably. But I might take a 4th-round guy that still shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Maybe a 3rd-round guy.
If he's standing up on my board, like, all right, that's the guy we got to have.
I mean, I could sleep at night with Deebo, Pickens, Austin, Wilson, Skoranek. And that's kind of why I come back to Mike Williams, too. Like, and throw Mike Williams in. Just so I can sleep a little better,
Right.
But again, you're kind of a Pickens injury away from, we're pretty thin right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just a reality.
And the same is true with Kupp, but even less so.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not done if it's Kupp.
Yeah.
He's good. It makes you better, but I can't just rely on him all those snaps.
Right. But Kirk is, again, still young enough that there's still meat on the bone there that And
he's
again,
a little more versatile, too. I mean,
Yeah.
he can be your outside guy. Him and Pickens would be on the field together. He could bump in the slot, especially if you added another big outside ball winner type, Then you're a pretty big physical unit. Or he could stay outside if Austin's your slot or Wilson's your slot. I mean, that versatility is useful.
Yeah.
And again, he's 28. I mean, you may get 3 years out of him.
Yeah, not 31.
Yeah, you probably get 2 good years out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you signed him now to a 2-year deal, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I would wait. I'd at least want to see him in a uniform and, even in the preseason.
If you traded for him.
If you traded for him.
I meant more if he was
he's
on the open market.
He's got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
So,
well, then you're fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if you got cut, what are you offering?
Oh, you're giving him a 2.
You're giving
going to give
a
him a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Any of these guys you're going to give at least a 2-year deal because you're not going to. It's not a 1-year rental. And when you say 2-year deal,
you can
build
get out of it. Yeah.
You build it so you can get out of it after 1 year.
Especially if it's like Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Debo is a real 2-year deal. Kirk might be a real 2-year deal that doesn't kill you to get out of, but hurts you a little.
Yeah. Throw a couple avoidable years on at the end, and you're see where you're at.
Smooth sailing, and I'm sure next year's draft will have plenty of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they always do.
Anyways, let's get to a break. That's going to do it for hour number 1 of the drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with hour number 2 right after this. And we are back. This is the drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. And Matt, Daniel Jeremiah has mock 2.0.
Oh, does he?
A little pre-combine mock here.
Mocks with his ears, ranks with his eyes. Yeah, I like it.
So he has the Tennessee
He's pretty
Titans.
dialed in, too. I bet he has a pretty good – I mean, these teams don't know exactly, but he's got a pretty good vibe what people are thinking.
He has the Tennessee Titans taking at number 1 overall, Abdul Carter, the edge rusher out of Penn State.
Seems pretty safe. I mean, their pass rush wasn't great. I know Landry was hurt, but it's not a bad place to start. Make the defense even stronger.
At 2, he has the Browns taking Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami.
I would feel for Cam Ward in that situation. That's asking a ton to be the savior as you're losing linemen left and right, and
Yeah. 3 has the Giants taking Travis Hunter out of Colorado.
I think he's going to go high, but maybe he thinks they're getting Stafford or something. The Giants have to get a quarterback or they're all getting fired.
Yeah.
But I would not take Sanders at 3.
No.
No matter what.
Nor would I.
Yeah.
At 4, he has the Patriots taking Will Campbell, the LSU offensive lineman.
It's fine. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't move the needle a lot for me, but it's fine. I'm sure he'll be a good player.
At 5, the Jaguars take Mason Graham, the Michigan defensive tackle.
Seems really chalky all of a sudden.
At 6, the Raiders take Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado.
Maybe. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not a huge Sanders fan, but I know he's not going to fall much further than that when it's all said and done, and the Raiders need a quarterback, and okay.
7, he has the Jets taking Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end.
I mean, send Brock Bowers a fruit basket if you go that early. I mean, that's early for a tight end, but he's an impact player, and he would play every snap for them.
At 8, the Carolina Panthers take Jalen Walker, the edge rusher out of Georgia.
Okay. These Georgia edge guys seem to be firming themselves up in the top 15.
At 9, the Saints take Mike Green, the edge rusher out of Marshall.
Wow. That seemed early to me, but
I think he's a good player.
I think he's a real good player. He had like 17 sacks or something last year, and he's going to they usually have the big 280-pound DNs, but it's a whole new coaching staff, and they want to change things up.
At 10, the Bears take Kelvin Banks Jr., the Texas offensive tackle.
Fair enough.
At 11, the 49ers take Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan.
They could lose a corner.
Yeah.
And the O-line got picked through a little bit more probably than they would have liked.
At 12, the Dallas Cowboys take Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Mississippi.
You're going to start seeing him in that neighborhood. Yeah.
At
maybe the Bears would even consider him.
Yeah.
13,
the Dolphins take Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama.
I don't think he's like the best guard prospect I ever saw, and guards in the first half of the first round aren't really my bag. But boy, do they need it.
They need it.
Boy, do they need it.
At 14, the Colts take Armand Membo, Missouri offensive tackle.
Okay, there's some talk about Braden Smith being released, or Membo could even be a guard for a year. Warren's the one that gets linked to them a lot, but he's long gone in this case. But defense shouldn't be forgotten either, though.
At 15, the Falcons take Mykel Williams, Georgia edge rusher.
There's going to be an edge rusher, and they're going to have a need.
Yeah, every year.
Rinse, repeat, yeah.
16, the Cardinals take Kenneth Grant, the Michigan defensive tackle.
Pretty early, but they don't have that type of guy.
No, they don't.
I mean, and their D-line needs a lot of help. He's a lot different than Robinson they took in the first round last year.
At 17, the Bengals take Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas.
Anything on defense makes sense.
He would be the automatic replacement for Mike Hilton.
Yeah, and a better version and younger, and he could bump outside.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say D-tackle makes more sense, but 3 of them already went. The 2 Michigan guys and Nolan are gone, you know.
At 18, the Seattle Seahawks take Gray Zabel, offensive lineman out of North Dakota State.
Earliest I've seen him, but I was sitting there racking my brain. Who's the best interior O lineman left? It's him.
Yeah. At 19, the Buccaneers take Tedoroa McMillan.
There's no way he falls
Your
that
first wide receiver taken.
I can't buy it.
I don't know. I mean, this isn't.
There's not a ton of receiver needy teams that we bypass
and
there.
This isn't a great wide receiver class. I mean, I just don't see that guy.
I think he goes top 10.
I don't know that he's not a top 10 player for me.
Okay. I like him more than I did a week ago. I think he's a better separator than I thought.
At 20, the Broncos take Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan.
That's who I mocked to him as well because I wouldn't pass on Ginty if I were them. He hasn't gone yet, right?
He goes at 21.
Ah, really? Okay. How about that? I didn't know this, and we talked about this an hour ago.
At 21, the Steelers take Ashton Genty, running back out of Boise State.
I mean, you might get the best player in the draft at 21. I'm sure people are like, can't take a running back, and Najee was a bust, blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't. But this guy's a special prospect. You're going to run the ball a lot. And you have free agency money. You could do other things to get your other needs.
Opens up a lot of avenues.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty tough. No matter who your quarterback was, we'd be pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy completions. Wow.
At 22, he has the Chargers taking Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina.
I could see Harbaugh doing that. I was thinking about the Chargers. They have so many needs. I mean, they're going to cut Bosa. They're going to lose Mack. Their D tackles weren't great to begin with. The interior of their O-line's a mess. They definitely need a receiver. Their tight ends aren't very good. And right now their backs are like Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a ton of cap space. They're going to look a lot different. But let's not forget the team that Harbaugh inherited. They needed a lot.
At 23, the Packers take Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State.
And when it's all said and done, I'll be shocked if he lasts that long, but I definitely understand it.
At 24, the Vikings take Travion Henderson, running back from Ohio State.
Three backs. They're all good.
All from 21 down.
Yeah.
Again, that's
these are playoff teams.
That's the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that is kind of like the conversation we had a half hour ago or so. Like, will the league? I think how you phrase it. Will the league look at running backs different? And we said like kind of the cherry on top. Well, those are playoff teams. You know,
right.
Like those. If you're going to give me a great back on a good team, maybe I become a great team.
Right. I'm not going to do this if I'm in the top 10. Because if I'm in the top 10, my team stunk.
Does that make the Raiders? Maybe they win another game or two, but it doesn't make you beat the Chiefs if you're the Raiders, you know.
At 25, the Texans take Emeka Egbuka.
They could sure use them. They need a plug-and-play receiver in a bad way. I don't know when Dell plays again.
At 26, the Rams take Darius Alexander, defensive tackle from Toledo.
Wow. It's not even really a need. I mean, they've drafted Kobe Turner and Fisk recently. Maybe DJ just want to give him the first round.
Maybe.
Wow. I wonder if we're going to be talking about him at 21 when it's all said and done.
Maybe. 27, the Ravens take Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M.
I mean, they kind of did that with Owe. Different body types. Production, we'll coach him up.
He looks more like Calais Campbell than he does Owe.
He does. But they took a toolsy dude with little production not long ago.
Yeah. 28, the Lions take Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State.
Zeitler's up, and they're never going to ignore their.
Donovan Jackson's a good player.
He's a good player, yeah. I mean, some might even look at him as a tackle in a pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice addition for them. They don't have a lot of needs.
At 29, the Commanders take Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama.
I guess he could learn from Wagner and take that
That's
approach.
good value.
Yeah.
At 30, the Bills take Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas.
I would think they'd be happy about that. I don't know if he'll ever be a number one, but he could be helpful. Maybe him and Coleman grow together.
At 31, the Chiefs take Josh Connerly, offensive tackle out of Oregon.
I bet they would take that right now.
yeah.
I mean, a left tackle that's maybe he's not a superstar prospect, but he's a good left tackle prospect. You don't get those at 31 very often.
And at 32, the Eagles take Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia.
Well, they like Georgia defenders. I never would have thought 2 years ago.
I mean, if you look at their roster, their safeties were just
That's just an average part of it, right? I mean, you can make the bleh part a real strength. I do think they'll lose Williams and Sweat and probably would go D-line. But, I mean, I can't imagine him getting out of the first round.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player. I think he goes early as like Indianapolis with Lou Anarumo. I always kill his name.
Yeah.
Who would you take if you didn't take Genty?
Genty.
Yeah. I mean, if the way it fell.
The way that one fell, I'm taking Genty.
Yeah.
There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And people can scream about the wide receivers all they want. I'm taking the guy who's going to get the ball 20 times.
Right. We just did a segment on veteran wide receivers. You can find one of those dudes or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, you're going to give me LaDainian Tomlinson at pick 21. I'm going to take LaDainian Tomlinson at 21.
Like, folks, would you trade the 21st pick right now for Bijan minus 2 years? Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Yes, I would. Right. He's a nightmare to play against. Right. Yeah, exactly. You would.
I mean, you talk about making your offense better. Boom.
Yeah, get the best offensive player in the draft. That's a good way to make your offense better.
Would right there at 21. If the Steelers took Ashton Genty there, he's winning Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He's definitely the number one leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah,
before it even starts.
Before any of the quarterbacks. Before any. of the,
yeah, right. Because he probably is sight unseen no matter where the team he goes to. If he ends up in Denver or whatever, I mean, he's probably the leader in the clubhouse on that.
Yeah.
McMillan's the one that shocked me the most. How far he had him drop.
I don't love the wide receiver class.
I don't love the
top
either.
of the receiver class.
I don't either. I'm warming up to Burden a little bit more, but he didn't even have him go in the first round. The other guys are good. I mean, they're first round players. Don't get me wrong, but like even Ibuka, is he better than McConkey was or Worthy? Like the guys who went at the end of the first round. I think he's kind of like the same grade as those dudes. Coleman, that version. Leggett, all those dudes that went to the end of the first round. Pearsall.
I just don't know that I want to take that.
He's a lot better than those guys.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to take that at 21 just because. Which is why I'd like to take care of some of the wide receiver need
now in the next couple of weeks here. Yeah, at least have some kind of veteran that I can more than live with. I'm happy with.
To be quite honest, I mean the Steelers have had some luck with some of these young wide receivers coming in and contributing early. But you got burned by Wilson last year.
Yeah. You were counting on him to do something and couldn't. Right.
So it is kind of, I mean, that's maybe more of the norm. I know everybody expects the receivers to come in and play right now because it's happened with some guys. But sometimes it takes time for these guys. It used to be at 3 years, the third year
breakout,
the breakout guys.
Draft that guy in fantasy after 2 years. He's going to break out after year 3. Like that's ancient history to some degree, but just counting on rookies in general at any position is tough.
Yeah.
Besides running back.
Running
back, you plug and play. But yeah, it is tough. I mean, even like Sherwood loved Nolan, but if the Steelers drafted Nolan at 21, he might play 40% of the snaps as a rookie and then 80% of snaps as a second-year guy.
Unless he's really just gets it right out of the gate. Is he
going to keep Benton on the bench or not Hayward? But, what guy that you could draft, running back aside, because there's only one running back would take a 21, and I'd be shocked if he gets there.
A cornerback would play.
Would play a lot.
Yeah.
Could be a starter, every snap type guy.
Yeah, because it's just a different position. You got him.
Yeah. But other than that, your first-round pick probably won't play 75% of the snaps.
Yeah, because you're not drafting an offensive lineman.
I'm saying no lineman would bend, and they're not going to. Right.
It's just not drafting an offensive lineman in the first round.
And you hope last year's first-round pick plays 100% of the snaps this year,
I mean, that's the reality of the situation. Like, the Steelers have 2 rookies. Actually, they have 4 rookies who played very little this year.
Yeah.
They're almost like getting additional draft picks.
Right. They got a lot out of their rookie class, that being considered, too.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun in camp and preseason, all that stuff, too, to see the second-year drafted players. Oh, wow, that guy's could be a starter.
Looks way different.
Yeah.
You just have a better idea.
Watts is the one I'm kind of holding the light on for.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to be Minka, but, I mean, he could be a valuable special teamer plus before long. There's a lot of talent there.
Yeah. That was Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft part 2.
Some interesting spots there, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to look. Who did he have the Steelers taking the first time around here? Ashton Genty.
Guessing it was Abuka.
I'm going to guess that as well. I
don't know why that rings a bell.
It's right here. I think it probably was Abuka. Let's see. Last time around, he had the Steelers taking Matthew Golden.
Similar. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who I prefer to the two, but I like both. I just don't know if I like either at 21.
Yeah. And the last time around, he had Genty going
early.
12th to the Cowboys.
Yeah, that was real chalky back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would happen to Gal.
Yeah,
but there's a couple spots. Denver, Chargers. I know the Steelers aside. I had him go to the Bears, but that was with the thoughts of they spent a lot of money on O-line, trying to think they're the way they might think. Go get a guard or a center and then put that guy in the backfield.
We'll know more coming out of the combine.
Yeah.
You hear stuff. And
I wonder if he'll work out. I don't know what he has to prove.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, what's he going to gain by running a 40?
Well, he could gain a little bit, I guess. Goes out and runs a. I don't know.
It's going to be great.
I don't know how fast he's going to be. All I know is that
nobody catches him.
I saw him running away from a lot of people. I think he had 9 runs of 50 or more yards last year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, he's a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, let's get to a break. That was Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft part 2. Some of the other guys will be coming out here, and he said, he'll every couple of weeks they'll come out with a new one here. But I wanted to get to that one. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with more on The Drive right after this. Welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. And Matt, you, of course, can hear this show on these very airwaves, wherever you're listening at right now.
Yep.
Or
in so many other spots.
You can also download the Steelers mobile app and get it there, download it onto your phone, or you can watch on YouTube, which
getting more and more popular. Leave us some comments too. Yeah,
give us a thumbs up.
The thumbs up. There
thumbs
you go.
up
Goes a long way. I guess
goes a long way apparently to getting more viewership.
It's not that hard for you guys to do.
No, just click it.
Boom. Click
it and stick it. Anyways, you mentioned the Steelers got a lot out of their rookie class this year.
Yeah.
Gennaro Felice on NFL.com ranked each of the rookie classes this year from 1 to 32.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, I mentioned yesterday that I did a show with Tim Benz from the Auto Show on Friday, and he said he wasn't real sold on the Steelers' last 2 draft classes. I'm like,
I think they got a lot,
that. I think last year's draft class was ranked at the end of the season top 5.
No, a lot of them had, and they got a lot of snaps out of last year.
A lot of snaps.
This year they had a lot of injuries. They didn't get as many snaps.
They got a lot of snaps, though.
They still, overall, I mean, Frazier played a ton. McCormick played a ton.
Wilson played a good number.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see where the
Even
Steelers.
Beanie Bishop. I mean, don't forget he was a rookie, too.
Right.
It matters.
Yeah, it matters. Absolutely. So he had number 1, Washington.
I mean, the quarterback goes.
The quarterback was the offensive rookie of the year. That goes a long way. But they also got Jerzon Newton was the 36th pick in the draft. They had 3 second-round picks.
Which helps. Well, they traded Sweat and they traded Chase Young. With
that's
that
where
in
some
mind.
of this stuff gets a little like. After every draft every year,
gets kind of comical.
Such and such team had 2 first-round draft picks. Well, they got an A.
They got A.
Well, no kidding.
Right.
I would
should
hope
be
so.
Pound for pound.
Yeah.
What do you do with the cards in your hand?
Or you had the first overall pick. You get an A.
Yeah.
Well, no kidding. Really.
But hey, Sanders Schul's a good pick. And, I mean,
Jerzon Newton was a good player.
Yeah. They did have a good class.
Yeah.
We'll see what goes on with like McCaffrey.
Brandon Coleman in round 3. They got 12 starts out of him.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. At 2 was the Rams. Well, this is another instance where they had just a boatload of picks. But Jared Verse was the defensive
they rebuilt
rookie of the
their
year.
D-line in 2 years. That's a nice start.
Braden Fisk was a good player for them in round 2. They had 2 third-round picks. That was Blake Corum, Cameron Kinchens.
Yeah. Kitchens was okay. Corum, they still holding out hope for.
The rest of it was just...
It's not that great. I mean, they got defensive rookie of the year, and I mean, I'm a little shocked that they're that high.
Yeah, Bo Limmer as a sixth-round center got 14 starts for them, but he's
because
not...
of injury.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't terrible, but right.
Probably not where I would have ranked. Like, the Steelers class was more impactful. Well, I don't know about impactful. Is that the right word? They got more...
It was every bit as strong.
They got more out of their guys.
The Verse goes a long way. Fisk goes a long way. But, right.
The Chargers, number 3. And I don't know that I see the...
Alt is nice.
Yeah. But he was a 5th overall pick.
And
McConkey was good, okay. But then after that, Junior Colson...
he was a spot
really,
player.
The rest of them, they got 12 starts out of Tareeb Steele at cornerback. That doesn't mean he was good.
Yeah, right. It's fine. I mean, it's a nice pickup.
Yeah.
They'll be a starter next year.
Yeah. 4 was the
First
Raiders.
2 was big. Raiders.
Brock Bowers and Jackson Powers-Johnson. You got 14 starts out of DJ Glaze. I don't know that but
he got better as the season went on.
Yeah.
He had a tough time, like, explaining the Steelers.
Yeah. But again, if you're a bad team like that, these guys are going to play more.
Of course. Does Glaze start 14 games for half the league? No. Of course not.
Tampa Bay, number 5. They got
Bucky Irving.
They had Graham Barton.
Tyke
Smith was their nickel.
I might have them higher.
Yeah, they got 12 starts.
McMillan turned out to a pretty good player. He was better than I thought he'd be.
I would have them higher.
Yeah, I might have them too.
Yeah. At 6 was the Giants. Malik
Better
Neighbors.
than you think.
Tyler Newman was 13 games, 13 starts. Andrew Phillips was a good player for him. He only started 6 games, but he's their nickel.
Yeah.
Theo Johnson was...
They have real high hopes for him, too. He'll be the starter next year.
Tyrone Tracy will be the starter at running back.
I mean, they may have found 5 starters, and one of them's a star.
Yeah.
They would be higher for me, too. I'd put them over the Chargers.
The Eagles are at 7.
2 D-backs go a real long way.
Yeah, your first 2 picks at 22 and 40 were defensive backs. Jalix Hunt.
It's also not the easiest roster to crack.
Right.
Like Glaze wouldn't have started for them.
No.
With Lane Johnson, right.
I'm actually surprised Johnny Wilson started 4 games for them.
I guess A.J. Brown was hurt here and there.
Yeah.
But he's a 3 or 4 at best. I mean, that's not like a home run pick.
No. Really, most of their rookie class was what they got out of the
top
2 corners.
Which was a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. At 8, the 49ers.
Now the right guard was big, Pooney.
I would have had the Steelers ahead of them.
Trying to think who else. And Pearsall did very little.
Pearsall had 11 games, 4 starts, and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now he got shot.
Well, I know, but
still.
I mean, Fotano got hurt too. I mean, like
Renardo Green appeared in 17 games, had 7 starts.
That's a nice pick for him. Yeah. That's a future starter.
Pooney in the 3rd round, okay.
But I'd rather Frazier.
They got 16 games and 12 starts out of Malik Mustafa in the 4th round, the safety.
Okay, that's going to probably let him move on from like a Fonga or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would have the Steelers ahead of them too.
Yeah, it's not okay. You got a guard,
right?
A guard.
Steelers. I would take the 2 Steeler O-line. Like Pooney might be ahead of McCormick on my list, but Frazier's number 1 of those 3, and all 3 of them are successful interior O-line picks.
I could look at this and make an argument that Peyton Wilson was as impactful as any of their guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Green was good.
Yeah. But
no, I would have the Steelers ahead of them.
At 9, the Ravens.
Wiggins came on.
They just always get the benefit of the
Rosengarten had a lot of starts.
I don't think he's particularly good.
I don't either, but he's going to be their right tackle or left tackle for a long time.
Wiggins appeared in 15 games, had 6 starts. Rosengarten was 17 games, 14 starts.
Trying to think what else
Their
they got.
3rd round, Adisa Isaac appeared in 4 games.
Yeah, I say he's a depth guy.
Yeah. Dantes Walker, receiver, appeared in 9 games.
That's really just 2 dudes then.
TJ Tampa, 7 games.
They might move him to safety.
Like the Steelers' class overall was better than this.
Yeah. I see 2 guys.
Yeah.
The top 2 picks.
The Packers are 10th.
Okay, Morgan, the 1st round pick, didn't do a whole heck of a lot.
Edgerrin Cooper had he only started 4 games though.
Came on strong.
Yeah, he was basically their nickel dime linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Javon Bullard, another defensive back that started 11 games for them. Evan Williams, another safety that started for them 6 games. But other than that,
Morgan didn't have any starts? Jonathan Morgan, the first-round pick? They don't
6 games, 1 start. He's hurt all year.
Yeah, I thought Cooper looks like a star. But that's not a great class.
That's not a great class.
No.
The Broncos at 11. Well, they had a quarterback at 12.
That should
started
be
every game. That
way
should
higher.
be way higher than that.
Way higher.
Yeah. They got nothing really out of their third-round pick. They didn't have a 2.
They didn't have a 2, right.
Troy Franklin, their 4th-round pick, 16 games, 6 starts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, he's a long-term starting quarterback, though.
Yeah. Vele started 7 games for them.
It's a nice late-round pickup, but he's not
like
a
20
needle
years
mover.
old, too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a great class.
No,
and
he got a quarterback. I would have him much
well, they would
just
be
for that reason.
higher than that, yeah. And they have the Steelers at 12.
Okay.
You got 15 starts out of Zach Frazier. You got 17 games and 4 starts out of Peyton Wilson. You got 17 games and 14 starts out of Mason McCormick. You got 17 games and 6 starts out of Beanie Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
1 game and 1 start out of Troy Fautanu. I get that's
well, sure.
But there's some other teams on here that didn't get anything out of their first-round pick either.
Yeah, I mean, you had 4 draft picks that really didn't contribute in the regular season. You got a lot of the guys that did.
You got a lot of snaps there.
You got a lot of snaps, yeah.
Jacksonville with Brian Thomas at 23.
That's strong.
That's a good one.
That's strong.
Mason Smith, they got 11 games, 5 starts out of. Jerry and Jones was their nickel in the 3rd round.
I'm trying to think what else besides
their kicker,
Brian Thomas.
Cam Little.
If you take a kicker in the mid-rounds, you better get something
6,
out of them. Yeah, or a kicker, period.
I mean, really, that class is Brian Thomas and Mason Smith with a little Jerry and Jones in there.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking it'd be better than that.
14, the Tennessee Titans. They got a lot out of J.C. Latham and Tavondre Sweat.
Yeah, they did.
Like I think they would be.
Those are
foundational players. They'd be higher on my list.
Yeah,
Jarvis Brownlee started 14 games.
He's going to be a long-term guy. Yeah,
like they got looks like 3 starters out of that.
Yeah,
I'm just
first picking my brain here. Who else they added? I mean, those 2 big guys go a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would have them higher.
They should be higher. The Bears. Well, they had
Caleb Williams.
They had 2 first-round draft picks. They should actually be higher than where they are.
They underachieved.
They underachieved
the first and 10th pick in the draft.
Yeah, and you got your punter, who was your punter all season long.
I'm not putting a lot.
They took a punter in the 4th round.
Mm-hmm. Like I think Adunze has a really promising future, but you couldn't use him for starter like for fantasy this year.
Caleb Williams was the number 1 overall pick in the draft and kind of underachieved.
I mean, the offensive coordinator got fired halfway through the year. Coach got fired.
Yeah.
I mean,
15 is not where you want to be at.
No, not with those resources.
The Saints at 16. Fawaga, 17 games, 17 starts.
Yeah, okay.
McKinstry in round 2 at 41, 15 games, 9 starts. They get
after they traded Lattimore, he became a foundational.
7 games and 6 starts out of Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, he might be the starter all year this year.
That doesn't mean
it's a great pick.
They signed their punter in as an undrafted free agent. Okay, that's
fine.
Probably should do it.
Yeah, but that's fine.
The Texans are at 17. They didn't have a first-round draft pick.
No, but the corner was good.
Kamari Lassiter, 14 starts.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Fisher, their other second-round draft pick, 15 games, 5 starts.
It wasn't pretty, though.
No.
The safety from USC, Bullock.
Kalen Bullock was 13 starts for them. They get Cade Stover started 9 games for them at tight end because of injuries. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they got
for not having a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, they had a good class. They're happy with it.
The Patriots are all the way down at 18.
Boy, I'd take May over so many names we listed. But did he have a great rookie year? No, but could he potentially have a great rookie year? No, there was nothing around him.
Yeah.
The 2 receivers were really disappointing.
Yeah, Jalen Polk in round 2 at 37.
Yeah, ouch. Baker, too.
Yeah. Caden Wallace in the 3rd round, the offensive tackle, couldn't break the lineup for them, couldn't stay in the lineup for them.
They had high picks.
Took a guard in the 4th round, Layden Robinson, who did start 11 games for them. But
I remember thinking, I don't know much about Layden Robinson to be a 4th round pick at the time, too.
Yeah. The Seahawks were at
15. That's a pretty bad class.
Seahawks were at 19.
Seahawks at 19.
They got 9 starts out of Byron Murphy.
Yeah. I expected a little more, but I still have a lot of hope for him.
Nothing out of Christian Haynes in the 3rd round. He
didn't play at all?
He had 16 games, no starts.
Okay.
Round 4, they got Tyrese Knight, who started 9 games for them after the bye, which was fine.
No, I think they're fond of him.
A.J. Barner, the tight end, in the 4th round as well. And that's kind of it.
That's not great. It's a good exercise to go through these because everyone gets so excited about these draft classes. Like the Bears is a perfect example. Yeah. And how much did you really get out of a lot of these, as rookies? Like Haynes for Seattle. He may be a long-term starter starting this year at guard. But as a rookie, didn't do all that much,
20 are the Colts.
Okay. Colts.
Letu,
Donnie Mitchell.
Letu started 1 game as a 15th overall pick.
He was my defensive rookie of the year pick, too. I thought he'd come in and have a verse-like rookie year.
Adonai Mitchell, 7 starts out of him.
He's in a crowded receiver room all of a sudden.
Matt Goncalves, 8 starts out of him.
He might be a long-term starter.
They got 5 starts out of Tanner Bordolini, which...
Because Kelly got hurt.
And there were people at midseason who picked him as the starting... Or is there?
I remember that. Yeah,
rookie center of the year. I'm like, other guys exist here.
The dude in Tampa and the dude in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
That are better
and clearly better.
Yeah.
And Bordolini's a nice pick in the 5th round. I mean, that worked out.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Right. He's not going to Pro Bowls.
No. They also got 6 starts out of Jalen Carlos, a linebacker that they took in the 5th round.
Okay, must have been late in the year.
Yeah. Arizona has to be disappointed to be this low, 21.
They had 2 firsts, too.
They had 2 first-round draft picks. Took Marvin Harrison 4th overall.
Who probably was the 6th or 7th best rookie receiver.
Yeah.
Now, he may end up going to Pro Bowls.
Right.
I mean, I'm not super worried about him, but it wasn't great.
It also took Darius Robinson, 6 games, no starts.
So he got hurt.
Yeah. Max Melton in round 2.
We really liked him.
17 games, 3 starts. Okay.
I assume he'll be a starter.
They got 9 starts out of Tip Raymond, who was a blocking tight end. That doesn't tell me a whole lot about him. Isaiah Adams.
And he's not going to start over McBride.
No.
But, he's a totally different player.
Isaiah Adams, a 3rd-round guard. They had 4 3rd-round draft picks.
They had a ton of draft capital.
They had all kinds of draft capital, and they're 21st.
Yeah, that's disappointing. It's like the Bears.
Yeah.
You should be top 6.
Yeah, especially when one of your picks is a top 5 pick.
Marvin Harrison Jr., right?
Yeah, should be better than that. 22, the Dolphins.
What'd they do?
Chop Robinson
was definitely a home run.
Started 1 game, though.
They have good edge guys.
He's a situational pass rusher, yeah. Patrick Paul in round 2,
Total
17 games, 3 starts.
Okay.
They got 1 start out of Jalen Wright in the 4th round. They didn't have a 3rd-round pick.
That's a luxury pick they shouldn't have made. That should have been a 320-pound guard.
Yeah. They also took Malik Washington. He's made 3 starts for them, but he's a gadgety player.
Mm-hmm.
And Storm Duck was a notable free agent who started 3 games for them. Storm Duck.
Fair enough.
But not a lot.
Not great.
Yeah, 22. The Falcons at 23.
Penix didn't hardly play.
5 games, 3 starts.
Yeah.
Aurora Haro, 8 games, no starts.
Then they went D-line heavy.
Yeah. Braylon Trice, no games, no starts.
So he got hurt in camp and missed a year.
Brandon Dorius, 2 games, no starts. I mean, their guys got banged up.
I mean, they got so much heat for not taking an edge guy in the 1st round, but then their next 3 picks were D linemen and still didn't hit on him.
Yeah. JT Bertrand, 12 games, no starts.
They should be lower.
Their entire draft class, they got
very little.
They got 3 starts out of.
Wow. Now, I can't put stock if you're not going to give May and Nix and like McCarthy. He didn't even play either. McCarthy and Penix rookie year weren't much different.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're probably thrilled to have them, but that doesn't mean what you got out of them as rookies is all that valuable.
The Jets.
Fashanu was in and out.
15 games, 7 starts. They had Malachi Corley in round 3.
Yeah,
9 games, 1 start. Braylon Allen, 17 games, 2 starts.
That's okay. He's a good player, yeah.
Quantez Stigger started a game for them, a 5th-round cornerback, and that is pretty much it.
Ouch. Yeah, their 2nd went to the Packers for Rodgers.
Yeah, who's not going to be on the team.
Right.
The Bengals come in at 25.
They've drafted poorly lately.
Amarius Mims, 15 games, 13
He got
starts.
thrust into action early and looks like he'll be fine.
Chris Jenkins in round 2, 15 games, 9 starts, but not good.
No.
Jermaine Burton in round 3. I don't know if he makes their roster next year.
I don't know if he'll be in the league
with all the off the field
right,
stuff.
I don't think he traveled with them in their last road game.
McKinley Jackson was another 3rd-round pick, 13 games, 1 start. Another.
And they knew D tackle was a problem. 2 of their top 4 picks were D tackles, and their run defense was horrendous.
Eric Gall, the tight end in round 4, 9 games, 6 starts. He's probably their starting tight end next year.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Health has always been a thing with him.
Josh Newton, they got 17 games and 6 starts out of, cornerback at TCU.
Again, not great, but.
And they got a punter. It's probably better than what some of these other
I would say
ones were.
that's not a horrible class.
Yeah. Dallas at 26.
The two rookie O-linemen.
Yeah. You got 11 starts out of Tyler Guyton. You got 16 starts out of Cooper Beebe.
Mm-hmm.
Marshawn Nealon, your second-round pick, 11 games, 1 start.
I don't think he did much.
Liafu, the linebacker, 17 games, 9 starts.
I think that's after Overton
Yeah.
got hurt.
Kalen Carson, 6 games, 5 starts. They got a start out of Ryan Flournoy, a 6th-round wide receiver.
This class isn't blowing my skirt up too much either.
Yeah.
2 starting linemen are good, but I don't think either one's great.
The Carolina Panthers at 27.
Their first round.
They traded back into the first round at 32.
Yeah, they didn't have one.
They didn't have one.
Okay,
they took
right.
Leggett, 16 games, 13 starts.
He was pretty bad.
Was not good.
Coker's better than him.
Jonathan Brooks was just you knew when you drafted him that he was going to be a.
I just read he's not going to play next year.
Whew.
He may never play. He might be Kajana Carter.
Trayvon Wallace, their 3rd-round linebacker, 13 games, 8 starts. Jatavian Sanders, they got 16 games, 8 starts out of around 4.
They have high hopes for him, but that doesn't mean he did a lot as a rookie.
Yeah.
Coker's one of their best pickups from the class.
Yeah. He had 11 games and 4 starts as a undrafted rookie free agent.
Yeah.
The Lions down at 28.
Okay.
Terry and Arnold in the 1st round.
He got picked on a lot.
Yeah. A lot
of penalties, yeah.
Enos Rakestraw in round 2.
I don't think he played much, right?
8 games, no starts. They took in round 4. They never round 3 pick. They took Giovanni Manu, an offensive tackle. Well, he wasn't going to break the lineup.
No, right. He's for another day. Yeah.
Sione Vacchi, 132, 16 games, no starts. He's more of a special teams guy.
Type guy. Yeah.
Makai Wingo and Christian Mahogany in round 6.
Mahogany might be in the mix as their guard when Zeitler leaves.
Yeah, and they took they picked up a long snapper as an undrafted free agent.
Okay, we're reaching now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
29, the Chiefs.
Ouch.
Xavier Worthy.
They got a lot out of Worthy down the stretch.
But that's really about it.
Yeah, as I said, I don't know what else they did.
Mataya did nothing. He was awful. Jared Wiley, the tight end, 7 games, 2 starts. Jaden Hicks, safety, 17 games, 1 start.
That's a one-man show.
Hunter Norzad, they took a center.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't think he's even guard capable.
I don't understand why they took a pure center in round 5, but they did.
You got one of the best centers in the league.
Yeah.
They haven't drafted as well as people think, especially on offense. They're offensive. They have a lot of misses lately on offense.
At 30 are the Bills. Now, the Bills traded out of the 1st round.
Yeah. Remember, they didn't have a pick for Diggs.
Yeah.
And they kind of recouped some stuff.
So they took Keon Coleman and Cole Bishop in round 2.
Which is okay. That's to be determined still.
Yeah. Dwayne Carter in round 3.
I don't think they got anything out of him.
11 games, 3 starts. Ray Davis in round 4.
That's a fine pick, but he's a complimentary player.
Round 5, Cedric Van Pran Granger, center.
Not a starter.
16 games, 1 start. Remember when people had the Steelers taking him in round 1?
I remember he was a big name.
He was the 141st pick in the draft.
Yeah, because he went to Georgia.
Yeah. Really, that's all they got out of their.
Yeah. They need those first 2 picks to really step up at key positions for them.
31 are the Vikings. Nothing out of J.J. They had 2 first-round draft picks. Nothing out of J.J. McCarthy. Mm-hmm. Really nothing out of Dallas Turner.
He's really disappointing, right?
I had somebody say, well, no, he was better than you think. I'm like, really? I don't think he was.
He had a couple flashes. I don't think they had any day 2 picks last year, and they don't have any this year.
Their next pick was round 4. Yeah. Kyrie Jackson. He got killed.
It's brutal. I mean, day 2 picks are so valuable, and they're going to go 2 years in a row without one.
Yeah, Walter Rouse in round 6. Will Richard, their kicker, in round 6. He was okay. He's a kicker,
I wonder if they could rewrite history. Would they change what they did? Because they still have their quarterback that might be their starter this year. They might be like, oh, we'll stick with it and see how it plays out. And Turner might be okay. But you go without any 2nd and 3rd round picks for a stretch. It's real tough, man.
Which brings us to the Cleveland Browns at 32. Michael Hall Jr. was their first pick at number 54. 8 games, 3 starts.
Which is the earliest they've made of their first pick in 3 years.
Zach Zinter in round 3, 17 games, 3 starts.
Well, they thought they were so good they didn't need him this year. He's
Yeah.
going to be, and who knows? Maybe he'll
Maybe
be
he
over.
is.
He might
Yeah.
have his day this year.
They didn't have a 4th-round pick. They took Jamari Thrash in round 5. In round 6, they took Nathaniel Watson. In round 7, they had 2 picks there. Miles Harden and Jawan Briggs. And then they got a free agent, outside linebacker, and Winston Reed. That is atrocious.
Atrocious. Although, if we were to bet the Monday after the draft, who do you think had the worst draft for this year? It'd probably been them.
It would have been them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love the Hall pick even when they made it, and you knew Zinter wasn't going to do anything. Doesn't make it okay.
You had 2 picks in the first 2 days of the draft.
That's how it's been for 3 years in a row.
Yeah, because of
the Watson.
Because of the Watson trade.
I mean, I think their last. You said that was 54. The year before, their first pick was in the 60s.
Yeah.
The year before that, their first pick was in the 70s.
Yeah, it's bad business.
You can't ignore the draft for 3 years.
You just can't.
Right. Like, even when the Rams were doing that, like they were trading first-round picks for Brandon Cooks and Ramsey, they made a lot of picks.
They were still making 2nd and 3rd-round picks.
They always made 2nd and 3rd-round picks, and they killed in the comp game. They always had an extra 4th, an extra 5th. That's cheap labor, man.
Yeah.
You can't just not pick until 60th overall 3 years in a row. Yeah,
That's just asking for it.
right. It's terrible.
Anyways, let's get to a break. That was the rankings of the rookie classes by Gennaro Felice on NFL.com. He's Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley, and we'll be back with more on the drive right after this. And we are back. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and the first quarterback domino of the offseason is falling.
I heard. Okay. It's not a real heavy domino.
The Carolina Panthers
Yep.
have re-signed the Red Rifle,
Locked them up.
Andy Dalton, to a 2-year contract.
This sounds so terrible, but I don't mean it to be, because good for Andy Dalton. His car accident was one of the best things that happened to them, because they got Bryce Young back in the lineup and got his confidence back, and I think Dalton's good for Young. Car accidents aren't, but it did work out well.
It worked out okay.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. So Andy Dalton will again be there.
Which is fine.
That's
you know what?
fine.
He's not
Yeah.
threatening. I'm sure they get along well. Bryce Young's your dude. You're done at quarterback. You have other fish to fry. Great.
Yeah.
Not a massive domino, though, that affects the rest of the league.
No, it doesn't really make
Change much, right?
a ripple in the water.
I'm sure if we were doing Panthers radio, we'd be like, oh, we knew that was happening 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You know.
So Jerry Dulac reported in today's Post-Gazette that Mike Tomlin and the staff will sit down this week, beginning yesterday, on Monday,
Okay. Pre-combine.
and start talking about their overall plan for their free agents.
Oh, okay. I'm sure they have. It's not the first time it's come out of their mouth.
Yeah, it's not.
But right.
He's obviously had meetings with everybody.
Yes.
Where he just would sit down and say, okay, yeah, we like what you did.
We're going to strongly consider bringing you back, or
those
would
kind
you
of
be
things.
open
Those
to
conversations
it?
take
Hey,
place.
we might look elsewhere. And behind the scenes, I'm sure they're like, well, we like the Landon Roberts. Let's try to bring him back.
Yeah.
But it's probably now, okay, we can go from
Here's
3.5 to
here's
4.5.
what the cap says. Here's what we've got.
Right.
Now you're
The
you start
puzzle's
to-
coming together a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll even firm one or two of them up pre-combine, pre-free agency, or at least get some offers out there. Okay, you know.
That's why I bring that
And
up.
guys are getting cut. Some of these receivers we talked about an hour ago. Oh, I didn't know if Debo would be up or not, or Kirk. Or okay, now he's an option. You know?
Yeah, that's why I bring that up, because people might be wondering, well, why does it take so long to get to this?
Didn't have to happen right
It didn't
away.
have to happen yet.
Right.
Like now you're
Like last week was draft meeting.
Yeah.
You're getting ready for the combine.
Like,
There's
yeah.
only so many hours in a day.
Right. You got to take things as they come, and that's
And it
the
doesn't
next
mean
step.
it's been ignored for months either.
No,
right.
the position coaches have all been break down this tape of this guy. What do you think? Give me your assessment of your room. That kind of stuff.
Director, the whole pro scouting staff has been not dealing with draft stuff
Right.
either. Right.
They're looking at the potential free agents.
Yeah.
They're updating those lists as they happen. They're taking Andy Dalton off of that list now.
Yep. And not to mention too, I'm sure Coach Tomlin had some kind of meeting with every assistant coach. It's kind of not an exit meeting, but end of year meeting. Hey, Najee's up for free agency. How bad do you want him? You know, I like him a lot, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. We want to get your 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
You know, all the free agents, I'm sure, were mentioned in those type of meetings.
But what happens now this week is the actual planning where we're going to put this number. We're going to we get the coaching staff here. We get the cap guys here.
Yeah.
This is what we got in cap space available. How do we make the team better?
And I assume it hasn't changed all that much since when I was in those rooms many years ago. But I showed the draft boards over there. But there's a free agency board too. You know, here's
one over there, one over here.
Running backs. Najee's second on our list. You know, Saquon's 1, and we're gonna have a number near his magnet going. Okay, because when the free agency hits, those magnets get thrown off quick, and you got to be like, boom, boom, boom. You know, I thought we were gonna have this guy lined up. We came in second. Oh no, what do we do now? You know, like that's the plan they're building right now.
Yeah,
you know, how to approach this thing, and when those magnets are flying off, you better be awake, and hopefully it doesn't happen at 1 a.m. when you're, you know, all that kind of stuff too.
And here's why that's important to have those conversations this week before you get to next week.
Next week's hectic.
Next week is hectic, and next week is also, in addition to having all the NFL teams in Indianapolis, every agent who is worth his salt has not only himself there, but all the ancillary agents that also work for them, and conversations take place. Now,
the restaurants and bars are all full, folks, and people are having, and their words or their mouth is not closed that while they're there.
Yes,
and that's just fact.
Doesn't mean that contracts are spoken about, but you can negotiate with your own people, with guys on your own team, and that's why you'll start to see after the combine, you'll start to see some teams re-signing their own guys.
Such a huge week for the agents. No one ever thinks about it through the agent's eyes, but they're going to leave Indy going, the Chargers, Bears, Raiders, and Rams are all really interested in my guy. Are they going to pay what I want? You know, but I know that there's interest here, you know?
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, too, a huge thing that eats up hours in Indy is all the interviews you got to do with the NFL or the draft prospects.
Right.
You know, there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we will be there next week, all week long.
I can't wait. I love that week.
Always a great time, but that's going to do it for our show today. So for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site, running the Justin Miller hotline and making sure that the sounds okay, and for Tevin Dandridge here, making sure our video gets out there onto YouTube. I am Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.